staying consistent and showing up is definitely something I have to actively work towards every day. And when I'm just so exhausted and I just don't know why I'm doing this anymore, I say, you have to be what you want to attract. And I think that's my biggest driving force.
Hey everyone, it's Carly here and you're listening to the Made for More podcast, and this week I've got such a cool episode for you. So this week I had the honour of interviewing the incredible Rachel Kennedy. Now Rachel Kennedy is actually the founder of the Kennedy Curate, and she is a feminine lifestyle curator. All of her visuals on everything is just so beautiful, and she has the most incredibly successful blog. Back in the day when blogging was just starting out, Rachel jumped on this bandwagon and just built the most incredible blog, and she's now become a specialist and an expert in SEO. Now, SEO may not sound sexy, but she makes SEO so sexy. So I got to pick her brains about all things SEO, but also all things consistency, which I know so many of you need more of or struggle with, or know that is the key to success, but you just don't know how to stay consistent. So she gave some incredible tips on how to stay consistent, how to show up when you're not getting results, which I know is the hardest thing for so many people. And I also, little bonus thing at the end, I also picked her brains about Clubhouse. So if any of you don't know, Clubhouse is a new and exclusive social media platform. It's invite only, but it's incredible. It really is changing the game of social media, and it's connecting so many entrepreneurs and powerful people together through audio. So it's not visual, it's literally just talking like this. It's kind of like you're on a podcast with loads of incredible people. And it's no surprise to me that Rachel Kennedy has had massive success on it, because she totally knows how to work a social media platform, and she shares all of her tips on that as well. So you are going to get so much from this. It's such a cool insight into different ways of, promoting yourself online, and I absolutely loved chatting to her. So if you love this episode, which I'm sure that you will, make sure you tag both of us on Instagram and tell us what you're loving. So my Instagram is at Carly Myers Lifestyle, and of course at Made for More Pod, and Rachel is at the Kennedy Curate. I know you're going to love it, and I can't wait to hear what you think. And as always, if you are loving it, then please head over to Apple iTunes, leave me a 5-star review, because it honestly does make such a difference to the growth of this podcast. Thanks so much, guys. Enjoy. Amazing. Hey, Rachel, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm excited to do this.
Oh, I'm so excited as well. So this has come about because our mutual friend, Michelle, she messaged me. She said, have you ever heard of Rachel Kennedy? You need to know about this girl. And I was like, no, tell me about this girl. Whenever Michelle says you need to know about this girl, I know I need to know about this girl. And so, she connected us both, and she just gave you a raving review. She was like, this girl literally shows up time after time, consistently every single day. You need to know what she's doing. She's just like a class act. And she just said that you're one of the special few. So that is a nice review, isn't it?
It's very amazing. It's funny because she said something similar about you. And what I love about Michelle is she's not a woman of a lot of words, but when she speaks, you know that she's serious, because she has intent behind her words. She has her knowledge backing up her words. So if she says you need to meet this person, you're like, why haven't you introduced me to them before?
Yeah, totally. That's how I feel as well. And that's why I'm just so excited to get into the episode and get asking you all the questions, because I want all of the listeners to get to know you, but I really want to get to know you as well, because like I said, I've heard amazing things about you, and just having I've had a good old stalk of you in the last couple of days and having a good old stalk, I've been like, wow, this woman she's killing it. All of your stuff is so aesthetically spot on. It's so good. I looked at your website the other day and I thought, ooh, that is a sexy website. I love it.
Thank you.
That's so good.
My aesthetic is very much, it's evolved so much over the years, but it was funny is I feel like as females and entrepreneurs, we have this idea of we like to be constantly changing things and tweaking things. And weirdly enough, after years of trying to kind of do it all and create this very multifaceted sort of aesthetic, I realized that the real value is in the simplicity. Yeah. And I realized that if I'm going to work on narrowing down my messaging, I have to do that visually as well. And I feel like women we're very visually driven, but I wouldn't say that's our number one driver. That's like not like the number one thing we notice. So we see things and we enjoy many different types of colorful flowers, and we love vibrant clothes, and we're mentally and physically capable of taking in so much at a time and processing it quickly, that visually I think we have a hard time nailing things down and being simple with them. Mm-hmm. And so I had this epiphany one day that one of the reasons I think I wasn't, closing as many sales or getting as many click-throughs is because my brand aesthetic was so all over the place. And so after I just decided I'm doing 2 fonts and 2 colors, and that's it. It was like a light bulb moment for me. I had so much more time to work on other stuff. I had so many more people, engaging with my content. And I was like, wow, who would have thought that simplifying and niching down, that thing you hear every single coach say, who would have thought that was true?
It is so true.
I appreciate that that's something you noticed.
No, definitely. And actually, now that you've pointed out that you like the thing you've gone for is simplicity, that is what I find attractive about it. When I looked at it, it is so simple. There's like a photo and a bit of text, but it's just crisp and it's clear, and I like it a lot. It did things for my creative juices. I enjoyed it.
Good. So hopefully calming in a sea of lots of colors and noises.
Oh God, it definitely is. It definitely is. So take us back, because I want to know all of the things. So take us back. Let us know about your background, and let us know how you've ended up here, because you're young, but you've actually had a really long career so far. So tell us how you've ended up here.
Of course. So the beginning of kind of my entrepreneurial journey started in 2008 when I was one of those typical people who had like a bunch of different hobbies, and I like to do crafts and I like to do all these different random things. And I remember thinking, how cool would it be if I was able to sort of capture these projects and put them in a place where I could refer back to them, and I could sort of have like this digital scrapbook of my work and share it with people. Because I would have people ask me all the time, because I loved sewing when I was younger, and I would make a lot of my own clothes.
Oh, me too.
That's amazing.
I never had a dressmaking business. That was my first ever dressmaking business.
Oh my God. Okay. We had to have a whole other discussion about that. That's amazing. I was fascinated with like restoring vintage fabrics. And so I learned how to make clothes like using old and new fabrics together, because that's a whole other tricky thing, sewing different types of fabrics together. Mm-hmm. And so I could go into that whole thing, but I'm not going to go there right now. But I was like, what if every time I would wear something, I would get lots of people asking me, where did you get that? Or, did you make that? Do you make patterns or whatever it was? And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I had a place where I could just refer them to, where they could go and look at all of this stuff that I'd made? It never occurred to me to make money off of it. It was more of just a way for me to share a passion and something that people connected with me over. So at that time I was working this was like right out of high school. I was working at this museum. It was all about the Civil War in the South. And it was just basically showing, there was like an old building that had gone through like this battle during the Civil War, and they had all these costumes on display. So one of the things I would do is I would make these little blog posts about what I would do to keep the costumes clean, and how I really loved using like old fashioned methods to do the cleaning. So I thought, whatever the fabric was treated it back in the day, I want to clean it in that way, or I want to repair it in that way to maintain the integrity of it. So people really understand, not just from a photo, what this is like, but what does it feel like to touch this fabric? Like, how is it dyed? Like, what process did it go through? And I felt it was so important for people to understand the aspect of fashion through this time period, because it really touched on so many social and economic issues. And I just thought, how interesting would it be to bring a spotlight to that? So I wrote these blog posts. I thought, I'm going to start a blog. It was Google Blogger 2008. And I was just realizing after a few months of doing this, I was noticing I was getting a lot of traffic on the blog. But I thought, what if I could get traffic on the blog from people who I haven't referred to at word of mouth? So I just started doing research of, how do I do this? Because there was no such thing as Facebook ads. There was no Instagram. There was no Pinterest at this time. This is like 2010. Twitter barely existed at this point. There wasn't a whole lot of digital advertising going on, or if there was, I didn't know anything about it. And so that's how I learned about Google being a search engine. So essentially, back in the day, the way that it worked was it was just indexed because there wasn't a whole lot of content on the internet at that point. It was kind of like it was just topics in folders, and then you would go to that and then you would choose what you wanted to look at. It was very clunky. It was really difficult. It actually reminds me of the way that Clubhouse is set up now because it's so small. That's pretty much every algorithm starts out the same way, and then it has to evolve based on the way the users interact with it, and it gets more sophisticated. So I learned what search engine optimization was, which is essentially just when you create content, you format it or you add certain text in a certain way so that the search engine or the algorithm of Google can find it and then serve it up to people who are searching for things. So it's kind of like you go to the library, you want to check out a book, and so you tell the person at the front desk, like, I'm looking for a book in this category about this, and written it whatever the latest version of the book is, and then they go and they pull that out based on the things that the parameters you're searching under. So it was very rudimentary at the beginning, super simple. And I will argue now that it is still pretty simple, but it's a little more sophisticated than it used to be. And so I essentially just learned how to do that with my content. So I was publishing more content. I was search engine optimizing it, which is SEO, and it was doing really, really well. So then social media started coming around, and I joined social media, Instagram, Facebook, but I still was focusing a lot on my blog because that's how I knew what to do. I knew how to grow on there. I knew how to grow on the internet, and it came pretty easily to me. I think because I was such an early adopter of learning the algorithm, that every time there was a change made, I was very quickly able to adapt and understand what was going on with it. So it's kind of like, someone when you're young and you just continue to be lifelong friends with them. You know everything about them and all of the phases they've been through. So you can really connect with them on a lot of levels. It was kind of like that. I feel like I grew up with Google. So I had a lot of traffic on my blog, like just an insane amount that's even today unheard of for a blog. So what I thought was, what if I could make money off of this? Well, what if I turn this from being a hobby into something that could be a business? Why wouldn't that be possible? Because I saw websites running ads. I saw what I knew had to be sponsored content because the way that the article was written was very skewed towards one opinion, and that these brands and companies are paying people to write content to promote their products and things. So I gathered all the data, and I would just write these pitch emails. Basically, LinkedIn, I don't think was a thing at this time, but I would just go onto a company's website. I would look for contact information. I would literally cold email like the CEO or the marketing director of different random brands and companies and say, I want to write a piece about your product or your brand or whatever. This is what I can do. This is what my stats look like. Would you want to work with me? And I got lots of no's, obviously, because it was such a crazy, new, weird thing. But then I think a lot of these brands and companies saw the value of this. So I had people who were kind of on the same level I was, thinking, if we're early adopters of this idea of digital blog marketing, and this is before the word influencer existed, so I didn't even have that in my vocabulary. But what if instead of just seeing an ad for something, someone you knew referred something to you? I mean, I know when I'm looking for even just a show on Netflix or whatever, I'm more likely to watch a show a friend's recommended to me than I am to watch a show that has hundreds of thousands of positive reviews. I'm like, well, I don't know them. Maybe they don't have my same taste. Like these people are who, whatever. They're just giving it 5 stars just because. So I kind of took that approach, saying, I have built this authority a little bit, and people trust what I say, and these are my niches. And it was like crafting and sewing, and then I delved a little bit into travel a little bit, and it was mostly about dressing for different types of travel. So making sure that you were like chic and comfortable, and how to pack suitcases for travel. And so that was kind of my niche that I was in. The fashion kind of bled over a little bit into travel because was a little bit older. I had a little bit more money. I was doing more traveling. So I was just blogging about my passions. And finally, I started getting brands and blogs saying, or brands and companies saying, yes, we want to work with you. So I was working with like Marriott, Hilton, Best Western. I worked with Sephora, Ulta, American Express, like so many really huge brands that now to try to get collaborations with them, you have to go through a PR agency or like a third party influencer platform, and there's contracts and there's so many things involved that I was so lucky to be able to build those relationships quickly at the beginning, literally just with one-on-one connections and building a one-on-one relationship with someone in the company who then took my idea to whoever the decision maker was or whatever to make that happen. So that's really how I got my start. And in 2015, I think now at this point, I have like maybe 20,000 followers on Instagram, which is literally nothing. That is a drop in the bucket of what people are doing on Instagram right now. However, my blog had continued to grow. So in 2015, I started getting other bloggers because now blogging was a thing, you know, a real thing that hundreds of thousands of people were doing. And I was getting bloggers saying, how are you getting collaborations with some of these insanely huge brands like Bulgari or Toos or, you know, Sarah Flint, these high ticket, expensive luxury brands? Like, how are you getting these? And then how are you converting sales? I mean, these sales are like minimum, you know, $200 to $1,200 sales. To try to convince someone to buy something that expensive, they have to really trust you. You can't just be posting a cute photo on Instagram. I mean, I wouldn't buy, for example, with the Boss Babe courses, I wouldn't buy a $2,000 course from someone I didn't really trust. Mm-hmm. However, I did have people buying the Boss Babe courses because of me referring them to them because they trusted me. So I was having a lot of bloggers say, like, what is this secret that you have? And I said, honestly, it's that I focused on growing my blog, and you know, that's 85% of my traffic. And then I just have little offshoots on so that I make sure I have a social media presence, because it's ridiculous to say social media doesn't mean anything. And I do think it's a little weird when I meet a company or a person who doesn't have an Instagram account. It's like, why? What are you trying to hide? Mm-hmm. Why don't you? So it was mind blowing to so many of these bloggers that, oh, I don't have to play this Instagram rat race. I can actually build something that I own. It's kind of like owning your house versus renting it. Like, yeah, you're responsible for a lot more, but you get to say what you're going to do with that. You know, no one can tell you you can't repaint the living room or switch out the fan or, you know, whatever. You have to patch those holes up when you leave. You are able to decide what does and doesn't happen with it. And you're also able to charge 3, 4, 5 times as much for a blog collaboration than a social media. Because for one thing, the Google algorithm doesn't necessarily care how new the content is. If you're a news website, obviously that's different. That's up to date, up to minute information, but that's their specific niche, and that's a whole other separate thing. But if you're writing blog posts that are lists of things that are helping people, or bullet points or infographics, things that the information isn't going to drastically change over 3 to 5 years, like guides on how to dress elegantly, or the 3 best tools to get a beachy wave, like those things don't really change over time. For the basic principles still exist. Or, you know, tips on how copywriting, you know, things that people need to learn, and they're not majorly going to change over time. If you're writing evergreen content like that, I mean, I have blog posts that are ranking for the first page of Google for their keywords that are from 2013, and I haven't even touched them. They're still ranking very high. So this idea that you can put more time and energy into creating long form evergreen content that is going to essentially be making you money while you sleep, because people are browsing the internet and buying things, clicking on things all night, every night during the day in a different time zone. The idea that you can create something that's long lasting and sustainable and has like a little bit of the possibility of kind of bringing in some repeatable revenue every month. The idea of that in the ever changing, fast paced world of influencer marketing is such a calming thought. So I was telling bloggers, if you are solely focusing on Instagram, you don't own your content at any moment. Like, what if tomorrow the app crashed and everything was gone? How would you reach those 250,000 people you have following you? You've got to get them on an email newsletter list. You've got to get them over on your blog, consuming content there. Like, you need an evergreen platform that you control. So I thought, what's the one thing I did that made this successful? And I was like, well, it was really just SEO. I feel like if bloggers and entrepreneurs understand what SEO is and how to implement it in the back end of their website and then into every piece of content that they publish, they're golden. So I thought, that's what I'm going to start a business. I'm just going to teach people how to SEO. And from learning SEO, you learn how to niche down on your messaging. You learn exactly what content to create. I never run out of content ideas. I don't have to sit and brainstorm content. I don't have to come up with new ideas. The algorithm literally tells you what to create, which is so incredible to me because it's community driven. It's decentralized. Imagine if thousands and thousands of people were working on the same project and they all wanted it to succeed. That's Google. So this idea that not only are you creating wealth, but you're creating community at the same time while also not getting creative burnout, like, sign me up. Why would I not do this? So that's been my experience so far. That's 2018 to or 2008 to now, basically. And why I started what I started was because I thought, if I could hand the keys to the kingdom to these bloggers, they could actually make a difference, not just in their own lives, but in the lives of the people they're creating content for.
Oh my God. I mean, you just totally flipped the lid on so much. I had a whole list of questions of stuff that I want to ask you over the next 30 minutes, and they've all gone out the window, and I've got so many new questions. But first of all, it's so good though. I absolutely love it. I mean, you are talking my ultimate geeky language right now. Like, it's not even geeky, but like, you're serving my soul. You're really serving my soul. I love it. So I totally agree with like getting, building your influence off social media, like using it as a tool, but really having something that you own. I massively agree with that. And that's why I'm always banging on about building an email list and doing that. But actually, where I've kind of, this is where it's flipped for me just after listening to you now. I was kind of like, social media first, then email list, and then blog was like down the bottom, to be honest with you. Like, for me, what was happening for me is I've done my podcast, and then a lot of the time I repurpose that content into a blog post, and the blog post is like a last resort. But that makes so much sense what you're saying, and maybe I need to flip it. Oh my God. But that is so good. And I absolutely love how like bold you were in the early days of reaching out to all these massive CEOs and saying, I can help you. And I think this is such a key thing, like loads of people don't actually reach out and offer their services first. They wait to be asked because they feel like if someone asks for their services, then they're worthy of helping that person. But I just love the boldness and the balls that you have to be like, excuse me, I can help you with your massive brand. And it's incredible. It's incredible. What an amazing journey. Hey, I just want to interrupt the episode for 30 seconds and tell you really quickly about something so exciting that I've got coming up. So you will have heard me talk about in my episodes already that myself and the incredible Michelle Hillier, who you've heard on 2 episodes previously, have actually launched our first 14-week mastermind for coaches. So this is a really exclusive, really intensive 14-week mastermind for coaches and helping them scale their business and accelerate their business online. Now, the name of our program is Inspired Action Accelerator, because this is all about taking massive action and massively accelerating your business online. This is not an informational program, even though it's absolutely packed with information. This is a transformational program that gives you the full blueprint to take your business to the next level. We're so excited to kick it off. We only have space for 20 people. So if you're listening to this, if you're a coach and you've decided that 2021 is going to be your year to massively scale your business and take your coaching business from where you are right now, perhaps you're lost, perhaps you're overwhelmed, perhaps you don't even know where to start, perhaps you're a little bit stuck, to where you want to be, then this is absolutely the program for you. So reach out to me on Instagram. You can message me at Carly Wise Lifestyle. I'll send you all the information. We'll have a chat, see if it's for you, and hopefully you will get to join us on what will be the most exciting adventure ever. Now back to the episode. Enjoy.
my mindset was I already don't have it. So the worst case scenario is I still don't have it after I ask. That's it.
That is
I
such a
already
good
don't have
mindset.
it. So
And it's such a good like rule of thumb to go for in so many things, because we're always so scared of what could happen, and what might happen, and it's like, well, nothing changes really. Like if you don't change anything, nothing changes. So I love the idea of just going for it anyway, and then yeah, the situation is
yeah.
exactly the same, isn't it? Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. So, so cool. So you said in the beginning that you were, messaging all of these CEOs, and you were reaching out and just getting no's or no replies, and,
Mhm.
not really getting what you wanted. But obviously now the first thing that Michelle said to me is that you are so consistent and you always show up. So how did you still carry on showing up in the early days when you were getting all of those no's and you weren't getting the results, and you felt like, come on, is someone going to say yes to me? How do you keep going through those times?
So it's it's really about remembering what my purpose of doing this is. And so I know on a day-to-day basis I have millions of different thoughts that go through my head. And I have to remember that anyone I'm reaching out to, they've got millions of thoughts going through their head too. So usually what I've found is the better relationship is it's because you have really good communication. So I thought if I'm getting all these no's, it's because I'm not communicating my message well enough. So I had to really reflect inward and say, what is my purpose with this? What is it that I want? Do I just want to say I worked with them? Do I want to make money? What am I trying to do? So what I would do is I'm not getting an email back or whatever. What I'll do is I put out a little bit more feelers, try to find like a few more contacts, like maybe they don't work there anymore, or maybe they're not the decision maker, or maybe it's a Monday and they got 500 emails in their inbox and mine is just buried in there somewhere.
Mhm.
The fact of the matter is I don't know why they didn't respond or what necessarily always why they said no. So what I would do is I would remind myself you're going to have to communicate better. And so in doing that, I was able to niche down more on my messaging and my purpose to the point where I just remind myself every day. And even sometimes like it's an hourly occurrence. Like being an entrepreneur is literally being on a roller coaster that I would say you can't control, but because you are interfacing with so many other people who have their own full, rich lives and situations going on, you really can't control how fast someone gets back to you, what they say. And I would just remember that all of these are people. I'm not just emailing someone who's a headshot on a website. This is, Carly Myers, who is having a baby in July and, is friends with Michelle. And I just have to remember these people have a life just like I do. And there are reasons why they're hesitant, or there are reasons why they need to be explained more to, or there are reasons why they can't do it at this time. And I know for myself, sometimes I'm too tired, or sometimes my ego is in the way and I don't feel like explaining my decisions.
Mhm.
So I have said no to brands and companies before without giving an explanation. And I think if I do that, then that's going to happen back to me. So one of the things I started doing too was every time I would get a request from a brand, even if it's an absolutely absurd request, like we want 5 Instagram posts, a blog post, a swipe up for $15, like something totally stupid, I will respond as if it is a multi-million-dollar deal I'm turning down. So once I started doing that, I started attracting people who were on the same wavelength as me. So I stopped getting no response, and I would at least get a very thoughtful no. Like, we're not able to do that at this. Oh, I remember this one company I reached out to. I really wanted to stay at their hotel for this event I was going to be in town for. This is Miami, I think, a couple of years ago. And I reached out, I did my pitch. I was like, wow, that was a good email. I was really proud of the email. And every time I send out an email, it's, if I get a yes, great. If I get a no, great. That doesn't change
Mhm.
how I'm going to pursue what I want. She wrote me back and she said, I would love to work with you in the future. She's like, the only reason I'm saying no right now is because we have a conference that week and literally everything's booked. She's like, I want to work with you. She's like, I'm so sorry I have to say no. She's like, but I don't have the bandwidth to deal with this conference we're having at the hotel and give you the attention I would really like to give a collaboration. And I thought, wow, I wasn't even upset that she said no, because it was so gracious and elegant and refined and professional and respectful. And ever since then, I thought, I'm going to respond to every email I get the same way. I'm going to take it seriously. I'm going to act like this is a serious proposal. And ever since then, I get serious people back. And I know it might sound woo-woo. I know it might sound like a little odd, but there is really something to be said with you get back what you put out. So the way I stay consistent and show up when I don't feel like it is I think, what do I want to attract? Okay, I have to be that. I have to embody that. Because if I'm not being consistent and I'm not showing up, I'm going to get inconsistent people who don't show up back. So that's really my driving force, is reminding myself, what do you want? What kind of people do you want to attract? What kind of people do you want to work with? Well, guess what? You have to be that. You have to embody that. So, but on a more practical level, on a daily basis, I would definitely say making sure that I'm taking care of myself is absolutely. So if I wake up on a day and I'm just in a total funk, I'm like, you know what? That's it. I shut everything down. I'm not on my computer. I don't get on Instagram. I take a long walk outside. I take a bubble bath. I put on something that makes me feel really great about myself. I do my hair and makeup. I don't take a selfie. I don't post it on Instagram. I just live in my most perfect version of myself, feeling good about who I am. And pretty soon, you look great, you start to feel good. So it's kind of like smiling when you're disappointed or frustrated about something. After a while, your brain doesn't know the difference because you're physically smiling. Your brain is like, oh, we must be happy. And so then you actually become happy. So it's just that taking that one little step to choose that I'm going to change the fake wall my mind has put up. If you can put up the fake walls, if you can put up the limiting beliefs, then you can take them down. Because like I was saying earlier, nothing's going to change. I don't have what I want now. So if I get a no, I'm back to where I was. That's the physical reality realm. However, my mind is a world of my own creation. So that is really where the battle comes in. It really has nothing to do with anything going on around you. It really is, where am I in my mind and where do I want to be? And you can literally choose just like that. I'm going to be happy today. Today's going to be a successful day. And then it is. It doesn't matter what's going on around you. But yeah, staying consistent and showing up is definitely something I have to actively work towards every day. And when I'm just so exhausted and I just don't know why I'm doing this anymore, I say, you have to be what you want to attract. And I think that's my biggest driving force.
That's so good. And I so agree as well. And this is like, I only learned this recently, that actually, if you focus on yourself first, you focus on your energy first, that's the only way that you can show up properly, especially when you're in a place of service. When you're really trying to help and serve others, you have to take care of yourself first. And I never thought that, for a really long time. I thought, well, you work harder, you hustle harder, you work longer, and it's just not the case. So I love that you said that as well, because I massively agree. And it's so funny what you say about how you respond to everyone, because we were just talking before the call, weren't we, about Clubhouse, which I'm going to ask you about in a second, and just saying, God, and you were saying everyone is so connected, like you don't realize how connected you are to someone. And it's so true, because if you reply in a bit of a crappy way to someone, and they're currently working in this company, in a few months or in a year's time, they could move to another company, which is a brand that you massively want to work with. And then they say, oh no, I reached out to her before and she was a bit of a dick. Do you know what I mean? You just don't know who is connected. Like, each of these people are not staying with these brands forever. And so every single person is so important. And like you say, just treat them exactly as you want to be treated, and put out the energy into the world that you want to have back.
Exactly. And that's something that as humans, we're naturally going to be in self-preservation mode. So it is a daily practice I have to engage in to remind myself that I'm not the center of the universe, and neither is anyone else.
Yeah.
It's a web. It's, it's a community. We're all connected, whether we like it or not. So why not use that to my advantage instead of feeling like, oh, all this space is taken up and I'm just a tiny drop in the bucket. It's like, no, you are part of a very intricate, connected fabric.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to be that thread that's sticking up out of the fabric, making everything look terrible.
I totally agree. And I love what you said about, like, I love that you're looking at different things. Like your be all and end all isn't just Instagram and you power everything through Instagram. This is it. And this is, hustle on there.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you said that, because a real big thing for me is that social media really actually doesn't serve me personally in a great way. Like, I think it's great and it's great for business. If I didn't have a business, I probably wouldn't be on Instagram as much as I am. And I love that you're looking at like alternative ways around it, like, you're blogging and stuff like that. And you're a massive fan of the new app Clubhouse, aren't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm such a fan.
Oh, it's so good. And like I was saying earlier, you were telling me about it and I was thinking, oh my God, the thing is though, I get FOMO and then I want to get on these apps right now. And I'm like, yes, I need to get on it. So for those of my listeners that don't know about Clubhouse, they don't know what it is, tell us about Clubhouse, tell us what it is and your kind of top tips for making the most out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Clubhouse is essentially, I guess it technically is a social media app, but if you think about Facebook, if you think about Twitter, Pinterest, at the very beginning, they were all invite only and they were kind of in a beta testing stage, which wasn't a big deal to anyone back in the day because social media literally didn't exist. So there was no one talking negatively about it or any of that. However, I've noticed Clubhouse getting a lot of negative press around the fact that they're invite only. Mm-hmm. However, it makes me laugh because everything has been started out as invite only. So that's how you build a community of people are going to be interested. So I wanted to say that first is that it is invite only right now. You have to have someone has to add you. They can send you a link. Everyone on Clubhouse should have at least a couple of invites. At any given time, they keep giving you more. So it's right now, I think there's only a few million users on it. So it's still it's kind of like Bitcoin, like you need to get into it now.
Mm-hmm.
Before it's too big to get into. And the great thing about it is you just show up. You don't have to really prep any content. It's just a drop-in audio app. So imagine if you and I were having this discussion in a room and anyone could just drop in and listen to us talking. It's kind of like live podcasting almost. And I actually see people recording podcast episodes on there because you can interact with the audience. You can let other people speak. You can let people come up on a stage and like ask the person you're interviewing a question, and then you can record it all and then later dice it up for social media or make it into a podcast, whatever you want. And Clubhouse, though, is the other thing I like about it that's so different from other social media apps is it's not about how many followers you have. It's about who you follow. Mm-hmm. So when you get on there, you want to start engaging with people in conversations and following people who you feel like are adding a lot of value to a conversation. That way, anytime they're speaking, you get a notification and you can go into that room and listen. And I have learned so much in the last, I think I got on it December 6th. My friend Sterling, who is the founder of The Beauty Study, it's an incredible feminine lifestyle brand that is about the way that scent affects our senses, and you can tap into your feminine side through scent. It's fascinating. There's like a whole psychology behind it, and she's incredible. But she added me. The really cool thing too about Clubhouse is you can see who added different people, and that's another really great way to grow your network. It's like, oh, my friend is here, but I'm curious who added them, because whoever added them, they probably know other people that I might know. So that's another part of that network is going to your friends' profiles on Clubhouse and seeing who added them. Chances are you probably know, or you will want to know those people too. So it was funny. I was looking at who added Sterling and I kept tapping through, and the person who added all of us was John Mayer. was like, of all random things,
Wow.
somewhere down in my network, one of my friends' friends knows John Mayer. Like, how random is that? So it's this crazy web that once you dive into it, like, you are in it, and you start finding these incredible connections, and you get into these incredible conversations. I'm at the point now where I have 2 regularly scheduled rooms on Clubhouse that I do. So a room is where you schedule a time where you're going to start a discussion. You can put it on the calendar. That way anyone following you can see that you have a room started. They can decide if they want to join the conversation or not. I'll usually post a link to the event on Clubhouse in my Insta stories to let people know. I'll blast it out to my email list if it's something I think is relevant. So on Wednesdays, I do sort of like it's sort of an entrepreneur mindset room. And it's about essentially all the things. It's for peers. And then the other room I do on Fridays is for like my ideal audience and my clients. Mm-hmm. So the Friday room is about SEO, search engine optimization. Me and my co-host, we literally she's an SEO engineer as well. And we just basically take any and all questions entrepreneurs have about SEO and just do an office hour where we just answer as many questions as we can. And then on Wednesdays, it's a kind of like a cocktail hour where it's support for other entrepreneurs. And we talk about our struggles and the things that we can connect over and the things we do and don't like about being entrepreneurs. So that room has gotten a little bit emotional because people feel it is a space where they can come in and really be themselves. So I love both of those rooms for 2 completely separate reasons. And the great thing about Clubhouse is you can drop in and listen to conversations and really just fill up your knowledge tank, your emotional tank, your need to interact with people tank, mm-hmm. And then you can also get on and join a discussion and outpour, your expertise or your knowledge or your insight. And the way that people will riff off of each other and the way that conversations go organically, it's just so beautiful to listen to. And where the FOMO comes in is it's not recorded unless someone expressly says, hey, I'm recording this conversation and it's going to be a podcast later. 99.9% of that stuff's not being recorded. It's like having just this great conversation with someone over a glass of wine or whatever. And I think that's where the FOMO comes in, is you're like, what conversations am I missing right now?
It is totally like that. I was listening to something. It was going on for ages, and I hadn't really allocated the time to go and to listen to it. But I was so into it, and I was learning so much. And then I really needed to go and do something. I need to get in the car to do something. And I was thinking, I just don't want to leave. What am I going to miss? Because you don't know what like golden nugget you're going to miss, which is just going to change everything. There is so much value in it. So much.
So there's some people that anytime I see they're talking, I stop whatever I'm doing and go in there. Like Ty Lopez. If he's talking, I'm like, I don't care. I'm stopping what I'm doing and listening to this. And then like if Amy Porterfield is in there, I'm stopping what I'm doing and I'm listening to her. So there's a few people that it's worth it for me to rearrange my schedule to hear what they're gonna say.
Oh, I love it. Do you know that I heard something on Clubhouse the other day saying that, for you don't use hashtags as much to search, but the emojis that you use in your bio is like hashtags. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Actually, if you go to my bio right now, there's a little note at the bottom where I say, ignore all these emojis. I'm testing Clubhouse SEO.
Oh, really? I love it.
Yeah, I've been testing out Clubhouse SEO since I started. I think I've got like 6,500 followers on there now from literally only spending 2 hours a week on the app. And I, from my research, it's the emojis. So you can so what Clubhouse recently did was, if there's a way for me to SEO something, I'm SEOing it. So Clubhouse rolled out categories, I don't know, maybe it was like a month ago, or maybe 6 weeks ago, and they were using emojis to categorize. And so I thought, wait a second, I wonder if this works. And sure enough, if you put emojis in the room titles. Okay, so for example, one of the ones for like all the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency rooms, they're using that little emoji that looks like a chain link. So if you just type the chain link into the search, things that are relevant to crypto or Bitcoin will come up, which I think is so fascinating. So you can see that different communities have kind of organically adopted different emojis.
Mm-hmm.
So I just go through and I kind of look and see what those are. And in a lot of like female marketers or entrepreneurs, they're using like the woman sitting at a laptop.
Oh yeah.
As yeah, so I'll search that and see what's going on. Or like if I want to get into a mindset room, or I'm like, you know what, I need like a Monday motivation or something like that. If you put in the little, it's like a little purple, what am I trying to say? It looks like a little snow globe, whatever that emoji is, that little magic.
Oh, I know
That
what you
magic,
mean. Yeah.
yeah. If you put that one in, a lot, I've noticed a lot of mindset motivational people will have that in their bio. So like their bios will come up, or their profiles. I don't think you can search rooms, like rooms that are currently running at this point, but I know that that is in the pipeline for them to add to the algorithm to be able to search for like rooms that are currently running with certain emojis in the titles. So right now, emojis are the best way to search engine optimize your bio, your profile, your room titles, and your clubhouses too. So if you start a clubhouse, you want to make sure you've got emojis in there, because all of that's searchable at this point. So that's my little Clubhouse SEO tip.
I love it. It's such a good tip. I feel like I just don't know how you would know that. You know what I mean? That's such a good little golden tip. So for someone who wants to start out on the platform, they're listening to this and they're also getting FOMO and they're like, Clubhouse, I need to get an invite immediately. How do I get on Clubhouse? What do you think someone's first steps, which should be for making sure that they're setting themselves up for success on Clubhouse?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one, if you're looking for an invite, just post on social media that you're looking for one. Somebody you know will have one for sure. So just post on social media every day on your stories that you're looking for one, and eventually someone's going to see it and send you one. So the second thing is, though, there's a little bit of politics involved with Clubhouse. So if you don't want someone's photo or their profile showing up on your bio, because like, for example, if I added you, my photo would be on your bio showing that I was the person that added you. So just be mindful of who adds you, think about how that's going to affect possibly your personal reputation, your business reputation. You do want to make sure you are careful who you align with, what rooms you step into. There's, unfortunately, like anything else, there's gossip that goes on, and there's people saying things maybe they shouldn't, or just, how people are.
Yeah.
And it's any social media. And so just be mindful of, you can see who's in rooms and stepping into things that maybe you wouldn't want to be associated. If someone saw, I saw she was in that room. So I would say be mindful of your time on there and who you spend your time with, just like in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
And then put your name in your bio, and your first 3 lines of text are where the gold is at. So I would put in there, one, what you do, like your one zone of genius, and then what you like and what you're there for. So I think mine says, Google SEO engineer, I'm here for good conversations, and like a little teddy bear emoji. So, and then you can scroll down, and if someone likes what they see, you can scroll down and kind of see more about them. And then make sure you link at least one social media account, either Twitter or Instagram, to that, because that's the only way people can connect with you. There's no chat feature in the app or anything like that. So if you're speaking in a room and someone's like, oh, wow, I really want to buy her course, or I really want to chat with her, or I think we would be great friends, if they can follow you on Clubhouse, but then there's no way of them communicating with you unless they can somehow get on the stage and speak with you right then, which most people won't. So you need to have a way for people to connect with you off the app. And yeah, so connect Instagram or Twitter, whichever one you actually check your DMs on. And then if you do host or speak frequently in a certain room, I have in my bio saying I host rooms every Friday about XYZ, catch me there.
Mm-hmm.
So just a couple of things about you, maybe a couple of like fun facts or random interesting things that people can use as conversation starters, because sometimes someone wants to reach out to you, but like they don't know what to say. And it can be like oh, I saw you in the audience, tapped through because I resonated with, the first line in your bio, or you just looked like someone I would connect with. And it's kind of awkward. So give them some conversation starter if they're tapping through to you just because they saw you on the app and not maybe because they heard you speak, because I've had that happen. Give them a little conversation starter somewhere in your bio, just say a funny fact about you that's like a little bit unique or something. And then your profile photo, you want to make sure it's, the bust, or, no lower, I don't think, than waist up, because you want people to see your face smiling. Mm-hmm. Take a photo of your smiling. I mean, if you're the type of person who's comfortable smiling and showing teeth, definitely do that. The more open, engaging, authentic, if you're looking at the camera, that's good. And yeah, that's what I would, it's kind of just the way that you would interact with people in person,
Yeah.
Smile, quick little facts about you. Oh, why are you at this party? Do you know the host? And then, oh, these are the things I do for fun, or this is my job, or whatever it is. But yeah, I would say any principle that applies to walking into a party it applies to Clubhouse.
Oh, I love it. They're such good tips. I need to revamp my profile. You've inspired me. I've got 72 followers at the moment. I'm brand new. That is so good. I love it. And it's been so beneficial for you, isn't it? You said that you've got some amazing clients through there. They've just heard you speak and then wanted to connect. And
oh yeah, I've got some amazing clients. I've made some really incredible people that I'm just friends with now. They've actually got to meet in person off the app. It's so crazy. You would never think that you would do something like that, but the connection you can make with someone just from chatting with them is so much deeper than just seeing like a random Instagram photo, or even watching them on YouTube, like if they have a channel or something like that. You just don't have the same connection you do with a conversation. So yeah, it's a very accelerated way to make an authentic, strong connection really quickly, which I just think is incredible.
Yeah, totally. It's actually why I love podcasting as well, because I feel like when all of your audio, when all of your other senses are gone and you just hear someone, you just connect on a much deeper level, don't you? And that's what I found with Clubhouse as well. You're not distracted at all by what they look like, how good their photos are, or anything like that. It's literally just, what is that person saying and what vibe are you getting from that person? Yeah, that's why I really love it.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't really, on Instagram, it's kind of a highlight reel, and you only go up on stories when you look good, and there's filters and all this stuff. With Clubhouse, if you don't know what you're talking about, it's very quickly obvious.
So good. You've inspired me. You've inspired me to revamp my blog. I'm going to definitely put some more focus on that. And you've inspired me to put some time into Clubhouse as well. I mean, you've just literally doubled my workload, but thanks very much for that.
Just get rid of something else. Focus on the things that are going to move the needle. I mean, that's why I don't do like TikTok or Twitter. I'm like, they exist. I have an account, but I feel no need to be on every single one of the platforms. I'm like, am I energetically aligned with this? Is my ideal audience on here? No. Okay, fine. Move on to the next thing.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's the thing. You do feel like you need to be on all of them, don't you? But actually, some of them just really don't serve your business, and they don't serve your energy either. So it's being really aware of that. So good. Thank you so much. I have 3 quick fire questions I always ask my guests to wrap up the end, if that's okay with you. So my first question is, what does success look like to you? How do you define it?
Success looks like, oh, wow. This is what the topic of my Clubhouse room was actually last night. We were talking about this. Success looks like waking up in the morning and knowing that what you are doing in your business and in your life that day is going to positively impact the people around you. It's going to positively impact the people around you. So success looks like purpose, I think, for me.
Love it. So good. What is your top book or podcast recommendation?
Right now I'm reading Design Your Day by Claire Diaz-Ortiz. She used to work for Twitter. This woman is so organized. It's attractive. It is this really short book. I think it has like less than 150 pages. You can read it on a flight. and I'm almost done with it. It's just about being more productive, like setting better goals and living a life of purpose. So that's my number one book recommendation right now. My podcast recommendation, I really love the Boss Babe podcast. They have a really good, diverse amount of interviews and things that they do. So yeah, the Boss Babe podcast, and then also this is completely off topic, completely off the rails, but I really love My Favorite Murder.
Oh, really?
That's my guilty indulgence, like nothing to do with anything. And it's just like, I mean, it's like binging a show you shouldn't watch, but yeah, My Favorite Murder, when you just like need to completely disconnect from the reality you're currently operating.
Oh, I'm the same as well. I love, like, when I sit down at night, me and my partner always watch some kind of crazy detective murder show. And then I started spinning out the other day, and we're thinking about renovating our house. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, imagine if they like started digging up the thing, and then there was this body that they found that was from like 20 years ago. And I started getting myself in such tears, and I was like, I think I need to mix up my viewing.
I love it. We've all been guilty of that.
I know. Oh God, my crazy mind at times, honestly. Okay. And then lastly, who is your biggest inspiration?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I really love, like right now, I have so many different ones. Jacqueline Johnson, who does Create Cultivate, Rebecca Minkoff, she's incredible. Sophia Amoruso, I love her. And then I really love the editor of the Scout Guide that I write for, Dawn Pimpelli. She is such an organized, incredible female entrepreneur, and I'm a digital guest editor for the Scout Guide. And we had this meeting the other day, and just the way that she always starts meetings with talking about the big wins for the team, and then she goes into, I love how this worked out, I think we can repeat that. It's never a negative thing. So I'm very inspired by people who they're very firm and direct with how they know things can be improved on, but they always start off talking with them like, look at all the great things that we did together. So women who are building each other up, building other people up, and holding space for making mistakes and trying again and getting back up, those are really the women that inspire me.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Being assertive, but still empowering people is a really interesting balance, but it's so, so important. Oh, I love that. Rachel, thank you so much. I've literally loved talking to you. I could just speak to you all night. Like I said, this has got nothing to do with the questions that I sent you. I've asked you loads of stuff. But yeah, I've taken so much from it, and I know that my listeners will as well. So if my listeners want to binge you and find out all things Rachel Kennedy, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to @TheKennedyCurate. That's my Instagram. And then also thekennedycurate.com. That's my blog.
Amazing. And then on your website as well, you can find your SEO course as well, can't you?
Absolutely. Everything is there on the front page.
I love it. So good. Oh, Rachel, thank you so much. I'm so, so grateful for your time. I know how busy you are. And yeah, just keep smashing it and showing up, because you're massively inspiring. And yeah, the world needs more people like you. I absolutely love it.
Thank you, Carly. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share. I appreciate it.
Yay. Thank you so much. Speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.